Hi, Dave Markham here for the Brockporter TV Radio Show. Here's our weekly report for December 7th, 2014. It's been quite a week. There's a lot of things been going on. I hope you've been over to the Lift Bridge to buy the winter 2015 issue of the Brockporter Quarterly Journal. It's available at the Lift Bridge or on Amazon.com. And the theme this month is on the managing the housing stock, and there's a lot of interesting articles in there. I hope that you will buy a copy. Next Saturday on December 13th from 2 to 4, I'll be at the Lift Bridge Bookshop having a Saturday afternoon salon or whatever they call it, to meet and greet people who might be interested in the journal and possibly buying a copy for themselves and for someone else. So if you're in the village next Saturday between 2 and 4, stop in and say hello. I'd love to meet you and talk with you further about whatever ideas and comments you have about village life here in Brockport. Last Saturday on the 29th was Small Business Saturday. Of course, that followed Black Friday. And what I've been told in my informal interviews is that many of the merchants in downtown Brockport did reasonably well. John Bonzik at the Lift Bridge Bookshop, one of the new co-owners with Cody Steffen, told me that on Small Business Saturday they had more sales than usually they get in a week. So he and Cody and Archie and Patty are very grateful for your support. I'm assuming that the other stores did well. So as you continue to do your Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, please come down to the Victorian Business District in Brockport and patronize our local businesses. Following up on that, Dr. Ann Panning, who's an English professor at SUNY Brockport, organized a cash mob with one of her classes that was held Tuesday, December 2nd, from 5 to 9 or 5 to 8 at the Lift Bridge Bookshop. And again, I stopped in and they had punch and cookies, and there seemed to be quite a lot of traffic in the store, and Dr. Panning and her class did a great job organizing a cash mob in an attempt on the part of the college and its students to support our local business here in the Brockport Business District. Bill Andrews, Trustee Andrews, announced that the Greater Brockport Development Corporation in 2015 will be rolling out a new marketing campaign called the Culture Crazy Canal Port. Culture Crazy Canal Port. How do you like that? To showcase all the cultural activities that go on in Brockport. There's a separate video up of Mr. Dr. Andrews describing all the cultural activities. So if you missed that, go back earlier in the week, this past week, and you will find the article that describes his report at the village board and a video segment of his description of some of the cultural activities in Brockport. It's well worth watching. The New York Association Against Gun Violence announced this week that there will be a vigil at Buff State in Buffalo on December 11th. That's a week from, this coming Thursday, for all the people who've been killed by gun violence. Because of the stricter laws that we have in New York State has the 4th lowest gun fatality rate of any state in the United States. It's about 5 per 100,000, which is still way too high, but it is much better than states like Wyoming, where the rate is 20 per 100,000, if you can believe that. So over 30,000 Americans are killed every year in gun violence, and it is a serious issue. All these folks that want to repeal New York State's SAFE Act are deluded. They're being fed propaganda by the NRA, the National Rifle Association, and the fact that you have a gun in your house makes it three times more likely you'll be killed by a gun than if you didn't possess a gun. So the facts, the public health statistics are very clear that you're safer without a gun than you are with a gun. So New York State is doing very well from a public health perspective with its gun laws, and we can be very thankful at this holiday season that we live in the fourth safest state in the union when it comes to gun violence. I also mentioned on the Brockporter this past week that Village of Brockport residents will probably be getting a tax rebate this year from New York State because the Village of Brockport stayed under its tax cap. So apparently the New York State has a program for municipalities who stay under the tax cap. Certain portion is rebated to the taxpayers. So this year, those of us that pay central school taxes to Brockport Central School did get a rebate because Brockport Central School stayed under the tax cap. And Mr. Hendricks reports, you can watch his report on the Brockporter video, again posted last week if you're interested, where he describes this program and also predicts that the residents of the Village of Brockport will get a rebate, unlike the town of Sweden, who are going over their tax cap. Part of the reason for that is they're losing the income from the Justice Court because Brockport will be starting up its own village court, and Sweden has just mismanaged their budget, not well at all over the last few years, and have taken terrible advantage of the village because village taxpayers pay over $2 million for its police department, which writes most of the tickets that appear in the Justice Court, and the town of Sweden keeps the money for the most part. The only thing that was rebated back to Brockport was parking tickets, and the people in the town of Sweden did a terrible job taking care of processing the parking tickets. Even claim they lost a whole box of them that was under somebody's desk, if you can believe such a thing. Thank God for Mayor Margie Blackman. Before she was mayor, she took over the parking ticket thing and set up a collection program with a private agency, and parking ticket collections have gone way up. So another indication of the mismanagement at the town of Sweden, and the idea of the disillusionness that village of Brockport was so poorly mismanaged, it had to be taken over by the town of Sweden, turns out just to be the opposite. Now that Brockport has competent management with a good mayor and 4 excellent trustees and a great staff, Brockport is managing its operations in a very effective, efficient way, and is being very fiscally responsible. Who would have thought 4 years ago that Brockport taxpayers will be getting a rebate because the village budget is so well managed? Kudos to the mayor and the trustees and treasurer Hendricks. Great job. The Moms Club sponsored a giveaway over at the Elks Lodge, and that was held Friday and Saturday from 10 in the morning to 9 at night. I hear it was a great success, and it's a great opportunity for people who are living in difficult circumstances that could use some assistance in providing gifts from Santa at Christmas. So thanks to the Moms Club and doing a great job. David Miller reported to the village board at the November 17th, 2014 meeting on activities in the code enforcement office. You can see that video too if you scroll back to the articles last week. Mr. Miller reported that they did 422 exterior inspection in part of Brockport. Of that 422, there was 313 violations. That's 75% of the exterior inspections revealed properties out of compliance. However, the good news was that 169 had completed whatever was required to achieve compliance by the time of his report, which was November 17th. Another 46%, 144 properties have until May 15th, 2015 to bring their properties into compliance. And Mr. Miller mentioned that many of them required painting and so forth that can't be done in winter months. So again, hats off to Mr. Miller and his staff. Great job. And I think the quality of life in Brockport is improving in our neighborhoods with the garbage patrols and enforcement of the building codes so that driveways cannot be expanded without a permit. Parking can't just occur in backyards and side yards where we're paving over the green space in residential neighborhoods. So Mr. Miller's doing a great job. He says one of his goals is that people could walk down the sidewalks of Brockport neighborhoods and not tell the difference between an owner-occupied house and a tenant house, a rental house. I think that's a great goal. And it already occurs with some of our good landlords who well maintain their properties, and you wouldn't know that they were rentals. So it just seems to indicate that good management makes a difference in terms of quality of neighborhood life in our old village of Brockport. I've learned that there is a contested vote for a fire commissioner. I don't know much about it. There are 5 commissioners. One of the commissioner positions is up for election. Gerald Boyce has been holding that position, and I understand that Bill Bird is running against Mr. Boyce for that commissioner spot, which will be good for 5 years. So the election is this Tuesday, December 9th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Brockport Exempts on West Avenue in Brockport. So if you want to cast your vote for either Mr. Bird or Mr. Boyce, it's going to make a difference in terms of who becomes the commissioner. Eligible voters are residents of the village of Brockport, the town of Sweden, and most of the town of Clarkson. Part of Clarkson is in another fire district, but a majority of Clarkson is in the Brockport fire district. So that's it for this week. Make sure you get your copy of the Brockporter Quarterly Journal and come out and visit with me, if you will. Pam Ketchum may be there. She wrote an article. I've invited Madeline Smith, who wrote an article, also to be there with me. Whether they can appear or not remains to be seen, but I certainly will be there and would love to see you and hear what you think about our wonderful village. I hope you're enjoying the preparations for the holidays. Those of you who are Jewish, I think we are entering Hanukkah, and best wishes to you, and thank you for watching, and have a good week.